One of my students, he was on the verge of bankruptcy. His name's Mark Leong. He has a juicing company in Singapore. So he started doing this juicing, teaching people how to lose weight. And I said, you're doing it wrong. I said, you need to get more awareness. How? Posting stuff on social media. So he started posting these juicing recipes. Anyway, to cut long story short, Whole Foods offered him $72 million within 8 years to buy his company. And I thought to myself, just imagine if I had 10% of that. Right? Imagine all the millions of people that see my content and all the hundreds of thousands of people that have attended my live in-person workshops. And if I could just take a unicorn from each one, that's where the wealth ecosystem is. Because as an entrepreneur, you'll understand that when you get to a certain level where it's not about you anymore, it's about making other people successful. That is the wealth ecosystem, because business creates the cash flow, but cash flow invested creates wealth.
Welcome to the Radical Responsibility Podcast. I'm Dr. Fleet Mall, and I'm excited to guide you on a journey of authentic transformation. In each episode, I'll bring you insights from leading experts to explore trauma recovery, mindfulness practices, positive psychology, and innovative breakthroughs in health, wellness, and life optimization. This is a space for real conversations that inspire meaningful change, helping you find alignment with the person you are always meant to be. Let's get started. What if the secret to success wasn't just hard work, but learning how to work smarter? In this episode, I sit down with global entrepreneur and strategic business leader John Lee, an entrepreneur who went from washing dishes in his mother's restaurant to building multi-million-dollar businesses. John and I dive deep into the strategies that separate those who struggle from those who scale. He reveals how to harness AI and social media to build influence, create massive impact, and turn ideas into wealth. We talk about the power of compound marketing, why the best known beats the best, and how to cultivate the mindset of a thriving entrepreneur. If you're ready to shift your perspective, master the art of strategic business growth, and build a wealth ecosystem that lasts, you're in the right place. Let's get started. My name is Fleet Mall, your co-host for the session, and I'm really thrilled to be here today with none other than John Lee. Welcome, John.
Hey, Fleet, thanks so much for having me.
Oh, we're thrilled. We're thrilled. So let's start off with just a little bit. It's always difficult to ask someone to encapsulate their origin story, so to speak, in just a minute or two, but would like to get a sense of who you are and how you got started and how you ended up being an entrepreneur and social media influencer and so forth, and a teacher of entrepreneurship. How did that happen? What was your journey?
So started 20 years ago working in my mom's Chinese takeaway as a dishwasher. Figured out that, hey, there's got to be something better than this. There's got to be a better way to make money. Went to school, got a degree, got fired from my job, the one job that I really wanted, that I loved, and then embarked upon this journey of, I'm never going to let anyone find me again. So I decided to take my destiny into my own hands. So then I started to figure out, okay, what's working, what's not working. And then I read a book called Rich Dad Poor Dad, which was kind of changed my whole perspective on why people are always making money when they should be creating something that makes money. And so that's when I really got into this world of entrepreneurship. I was like, wow, there's another way to do this. And so I got into real estate. I made a lot of mistakes, lost a lot of money, but I made my first million at the age of 27. So how? By figuring out and paying a mentor £10,000 for 2 days of his time. I didn't have the money. But you know what I did? I sold my car and I paid him with that money to be able to teach me. And within, I would say, the first 6 months, I bought 35 houses, and that's how I made my first million.
Wow, that's a great story and a great point there that you sold your car to get the money to hire a real estate mentor for 2 days. And, I think this is this message is coming through from a lot of our speakers, but, we don't have to recreate the wheel. Whatever area of investing or entrepreneurship we want to get involved in, there's people who've been very successful, and we can just get a little bit of their time, a little bit of their mentoring, whether directly or indirectly. It can save us a lifetime of mistakes. So that's what kicked off your career. That's a great point you made there. So let's talk about social media, because you have a big social media presence, obviously over 2 million, and you teach a lot about how to create personal branding on social media and how to leverage that, not just for notoriety or for vanity, but how to really leverage that for financial growth and wealth. So what are some of the common mistakes that people make when they think, well, you know, I got to get online. I should have a social media presence. Everybody's telling me if I'm going to succeed in my business, I got to get more involved in social media. Or they attempt to get on there, or maybe somebody's just trying to start off there and build a business out of purely just being an influencer of some kind. But what are some of the common misconceptions and classic mistakes people make as they engage in social media?
Well, I think the first thing is, it's not misconception is, oh, I've got to dance, I've got to sing, I've got to look good, I've got to say everything right. And, that's not the case. If I show you my first ever video on YouTube, you would laugh. You're like, who's this guy? I'm picking up a sheet, I'm reading, I'm not knowing what I'm saying, I'm stumbling over my words. And Fleet, here's the key, right? The best known beats the best. You can have the best product in the world, but if people don't know that you exist, they can't buy anything from you. And with business, it's all about three things. Number one, the ability to get awareness. People see you. Number two is the awareness converted into monetization, which is sales. And the third one is having a system in place which can automate the process. So the misconception is, oh, I've got to be perfect. I've got to have a professional camera. I've got to have great sound. Well, no, now you don't. There's literally software out there that I can record in a very noisy area, and I can use one piece of software called, in fact, I'll bring this up so you can see it. But if you go to podcast.adobe.com, you can take any piece of sound and you can make it basically studio quality with no mics. It's insane. And yeah, it's incredible. So now you don't even need expensive pieces of equipment anymore, right? You can literally use AI to even create the content. Like for me, I always have a lot of things that I'm doing that can create content for. So AI can now create content for you. So people go, well, John, I need the time. No, you don't. You just need to create your AI avatar, right? So there's another one called captions, right? And if I show you the amount of, I guess, twins that I have, we call these AI twins. And maybe I can just share my screen and just kind of share with people so people know exactly what I mean. If I go to AI twins, these are all my AI twins that I can build. And basically everywhere I go, you see, oh, these are all my twins, right? So what does that mean? That means my team can log into this and they can pick any one of these avatars, type in any script, and it will talk like this. It looks like me, but it's not. These are actually AI versions of me. And so when I create them, I get to a point where I'm just creating content without having to be there. So that's one way I can do it. So, and then people always say, well, John, like, I've got to know what to say. No, you don't have to know what to say. You have to know what, you see, Fleet, it's very hard for someone to sit there and do a keynote and talk. But if you ask someone a question, everyone can answer the question, right? So if I go to Google, right, here's a really good hack for a lot of people right now. All you need to do is go to Google and you type in the question that, in your niche. So let's say you're a real estate agent. So how to buy property in London, for example, right? And basically you want to come down to the point where it says people also ask, you see here, right? So you just click these arrows like this, right? So click these arrows and then everything that people type into Google are the questions that people are asking. And these are the most relevant things. So for example, people ask, can foreigners buy property in London? That becomes a question, right? So you ask yourself, so you basically record it like this. You would ask yourself the question, can foreigners buy properties in London? And then you basically reply, well, here's how foreigners can buy properties in London. That becomes a piece of content, right? And then what you do, you go to the next one. What income do I need to buy a house in London, right? Then you start the video with, what type of income do you need to buy property in London? So actually, if you do this strategy, Fleet, you don't have to think about what to film, right? So you just film a video every single day on social media and you make it 30 seconds to 60 seconds long. Why? Reels content give you something called delayed explosion, right? What does that mean? So let me show you a visual of this. When you make a post on social media, you get this amount of reach. So social media, say Instagram, they'll show it to a small amount of people first. Then if people watch the video again, then it gives you a little bit more reach. If you watch the video again, then it gives you even more reach, right? So what does that mean? That means you need to film your video in a loop. So people don't know where there's a natural start, natural finish. So when they watch it, it just loops and they watch it for the second time. And then when you do that, you get more reach. So you might get 1,000 views here. Then here you get 10,000 views. Then here you get 100,000 views. And they're all for free. So what you do is you keep posting things on social media. And so another big myth that people always say to me is, oh, but John, I can't make videos go viral. I call it compound marketing. All right, compound marketing. How does it work? So you can start a brand new account, post a video, and it will get on average 300 to 500 views, right? That means that let's pretend this has got 0 followers and you make a post, it's going to reach on average 500 people. Now, if you answer 365 questions in your niche, 500 views per day times 365 equals 182,500 views, right? From one account. Now, here's the good news. Short form content means that you can have no followers, but it will show to thousands of people. So if I have different accounts like TikTok, Instagram Reels, Facebook Reels, YouTube Shorts, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, LinkedIn, right? That means I can take the same video, post it on 5 platforms and get 182,500 views a year times 5. That means in total, I get 912,000 views a year by using this one strategy. You don't have to go viral now. If you get 1% conversion on that, that's 9,125 people. If you sell something for $100, you make just under $1 million a year. Just this one strategy. And I do this a lot with I'll show you an example of this just so you can see. So this is my account where I've got 2 million people on here, right? So I started a new account. It's called John Lee Success. So click on this. But if you look at the reels on this, all right, all the reels, they reach, look, 700 people, 700 people, 700 people, 1,000 people, 800 people, 600, 500, 1,300, all right, 490, 200, 2,260, 1,000, 1,100. So all the views on all the platforms, they compound, right? So the biggest myths is, John, I don't know what to create. John, I don't want to put my face on camera. You don't have to. You can use AI to put your face on camera. John, I don't know what to talk about. I've just given you a strategy to do that. But John, my videos don't get millions of views. Now, if you compound all the views together, you get a lot of views. And it's for free. It doesn't cost any money. I don't know why more people are not doing this. It's one of the biggest hacks in social media.
Oh, that is literally amazing. You know, back to the very beginning, you talked about AI tools that can improve the sound quality. And I know that was an obstacle for me because before the pandemic, I used to be on the road a lot. I'm not so much anymore. But I would have lots of opportunities to record something into my phone, something interesting, what I'm doing, you know, related to business, work I do in the world. But it was always worried about the sound quality. I'm outside and there's wind, and I thought this isn't going to work. And I bring it back to my team. No, they can't hear. But you're saying you could basically record anything into a phone anywhere today, and with these AI tools, you can improve the sound quality, make it studio quality.
Well, I'll show you an example. I mean, like I was recording something on a plane, right? And you know how noisy a plane is. So let's take something like this, right? This is on a plane, right? Watch this. Oh, I don't know if I can hear this. Let me share the sound as well so you can hear this. So this is filmed on a plane, right?
All right, so on the way back to London now, and beautiful weather. They've got nearly everyone on.
All right, so that sounds really bad, but watch this slider at the bottom. When I push this slider over to here, watch the sound change.
All right, so on the way back to London now, and it is beautiful weather, and they've got nearly everyone on again. It's great. And also they put this to thing as well. That's the thing when you're doing this entrepreneurship, know your clients. So I love these things.
It's incredible. That means the consistency of creating content on your phone now can be shot anywhere. And it doesn't matter where you are. So the whole idea is this: the best known beats the best, right? When you have a lot of people see you, people are going to DM you, people are going to send you emails, people are going to call you, people are going to give you their email address, they're going to inquire about your products. So lead flow comes in and is in direct proportion to the amount of money that you make as the people that you help. The work that you're doing, Fleet, with all the incredible speakers, you're really giving back to the community and teaching them all the different things and those updated strategies to really grow their business, grow their impact, and grow their lives. So it's incredible.
And another very scalable thing you just shared with us is the possibility of using AI and using avatars that you create in HeyGen And I wonder initially, because you've created a lot of them, and I've worked with that a little bit. I need to get further with it. But initially creating the avatars and getting them right so they'll work right. I mean, you have to hold your body in a certain way and where your hands.
On a better one. So HeyGen is okay. Let me show you an example. Check this one out, all right?
Okay.
This is fully AI. Watch this. So those of you who registered for the 7-figure creator program, you're really going to start focusing on monetization. See, monetization is taking the followers, but then monetizing it. And that means you got to make passive income and have earned income. And there's so many different ways I talk about it. There's actually 20 different ways to do this. So for those of you that sign up for the 7-figure creator program, make sure you sign up for the social media monetization quick start. I promise you, it's going to be amazing. Go and check it out. So that's all AI. It's got all the body movements, it's got everything. So a better one to use is actually captions.ai. It's better than HeyGen. HeyGen's okay.
Which one is that? The one you were just showing us?
That one's captions.ai. It's the best one out there currently. It has a feature called AI Echo. And like a lot of these platforms, they make you look really robotic. Whereas this one, it's got fluidity. It's got my emotions. It's got my gestures. And because it's an AI Echo feature, the AI Echo allows you to sound 95% like you.
Well, you've been sharing some very powerful strategies with us, both to get free organic reach to a lot of potential customers. What are some other, things are moving really fast today. AI is speeding everything up. A lot of entrepreneurs may feel like, it's all just going too fast for me to even stay up with. But what are some of the, maybe simple but clear marketing strategies that can help us give us more confidence that I can get in the game and succeed at the game, because I just have some very clear marketing strategies?
Well, the marketing is all about creating awareness, right? So the easiest way to do it, there's only 3 ways to think about this. It's what I call the WAV strategy, W-A-V. So the W stands for I need to write content and put it out there. So there's a really good ghostwriting AI. You see, the problem with AI like ChatGPT, it sounds too robotic, right? You don't want it to sound robotic. You want it to sound like you first, then you layer AI on top. So for example, I have a app that I use almost every day. It's called Voice Pal. And basically what it does is, so if I open it now, I'll show you what it looks like. So Voice Pal is like this. I don't know if you can see this. So I basically open it up, and anything I want to say, I click plus and I click record. And let's say a team member is done something wrong, and inside my mind, like, oh my God, why did you do that? So stupid. Oh, I can't believe you made that silly mistake. Anyone could have seen it. Oh my God. Right. And then basically it will take what you say and it will rewrite it grammatically correct. Then you take that, you put it into ChatGPT or Llama or Gemini or one of these, or Claude or Anthropic, one of these LLMs. And then you say, rewrite this with empathy, firm and friendly, but to also give them the underlying message that they don't make this mistake again. So that's what we call written tag content. And there are websites like Substack where people are now paying to be on newsletters. So there's one called Doomblog. They have like 2, 3, 5, 10,000 people paying a subscription of like $5 a month. So you could just do written content and just post it on social media. In fact, LinkedIn has a really powerful, if I go to LinkedIn, I'll show you the feature that you want to use on LinkedIn. It's a feature called articles, right? Articles. So if I come here, you got this thing called articles or give advice, go to articles. And now you can use ChatGPT, obviously use VoicePal first, create the audio and then dump it into this. And now it sounds like yourself. And then once you've written the article, you put, if you want more info, go to www.johnlee.com. All right. And then what I can do, once I've written the article, I can hyperlink that, click on link, paste www.johnlee.com, apply. So imagine now I've got an article here. All right. The article is about, why people need to use AI. And then people go, well, I want to learn more. So they click on go to johnlee.com. And then that's how you drive traffic. Because in the old days, it used to be about search engine optimization. But the problem with search engine optimization now, Google doesn't really show you websites anymore. It just shows you the answer. All right. So we need to stop doing SEO and we need to get into AI SEO, because now it spits out the question or the answer now. So it's the AI SEO that we want to index. So now when you write articles like that, high page ranks are top social media platforms. So all your articles start ranking. So that's A. Second one is audio, right? One of the best ways to market, especially using AI, is to use an AI agent, which is a conversational agent, right? I'll give an example. People always ask me all the time, John, how do I become a speaker? I want to become a speaker like you, right? How do I speak around the world, right? And then how do I monetize it? So then I just put all my speaking training into this AI. So now people can talk to it. So people will say, John, I want to learn about like speaker training. How do you do it? So click on this.
Hi, this is John Lee, well, the AI version of him. I am here to help you with your speaking skills. Ask me any questions about John Lee's 7-figure speaking template.
Well, I want to do a talk and I want to do a presentation on selling a book.
That's fantastic. I love helping people sell their books. So what's the title of your book and what's the main message or the key takeaway you want people to get from reading it?
Well, look, John, I already know your 7 steps, but I'm stuck on number 3. What's the third step of your template?
You're right. You're already a pro. You're thinking strategically, and that's what it takes to be a great speaker. The third step is earning the right. It's all about building credibility.
So basically, you can put all your marketing material into a conversational AI so people never have to speak to you again, and you let the AI do all the selling for you.
Before that, now you're talking about, the whole process of engaging the customer. But even before that, you were talking about content marketing, basically content marketing on steroids using these AI tools. So one of the things that's happening with AI, it used to be, the attention span, we all hear that people's attention span's gotten smaller and smaller. And today we're in this attention economy, right? And as you said, marketing begins with awareness. Somehow we have to get people's eyes on our product, on us, on something, right? Their ears, their eyes, and their focus. And so, it used to be sometimes marketers said, well, you got 6 or 7 seconds to get somebody's attention to break through. It's now, some people are saying that's getting collapsed down to about a second because so many people are using AI to flood the market with so much content that, you got to break through. So how do we break through? Because there's so many people out there generating content. Now, the cream rises to the top. So there's people even using tools, using them better and with more talent, what's have you. But still, it's a real effort to break through, to get somebody's attention because people are just distracted. They're distracted on steroids and we need to break through and get their attention.
Well, I'll show you the best way to do it. So you're absolutely right. Attention span, if you look at social media, the difference between people who are getting views and the ones that are not, the ones that are able to break the 3-second rule, right? So let me explain how it works. So what you do is you create a 30-second video. So by the way, any videos on short form content used to be under 30 seconds. Now, if you want more reach, it has to be over 30 seconds, but within 60 seconds, right? So that's the sweet spot. Now, let's say this is a 30-second video. The first 3 seconds here, right? You need to test the hook. So what happens is you post this video. If it doesn't take off, then what you do is you keep the body. So this is what we call the body. And then you replace the first 2 seconds, right? So let's say this video was about, how to get more followers, right? Or how to grow a personal brand. So my first 3 seconds would be, are you posting content on social media, but you're not getting any followers at all? That's one hook. If it doesn't work, I'll re-record it with a different hook. Right? That is, here's the one way I figured out to get 1 million followers really fast. And then what I'll do is I just attach the original body on, right? And if that doesn't work, I just record another one and then another one and then another one. But basically the thing that I'm changing is the first 3 seconds here. This stuff stays the same, right? That's step 1 to breaking out. The next step, Instagram has introduced a new feature called trial reel, right? Trial reel. So what does that mean? Trial reel is when you're able to show your reel to people who are not following you. So basically everybody on Instagram, right? So here's the hack. So if I go to my profile, right? This is my Instagram profile. So if I go to my reels, like this one here has reached 3.3 million people. This one has reached 5.1 million people. This one has reached 500,000 people. Right, 106,000, that's from somebody else's account, 20, right, 26, 68,000, 50, 222,000. So basically what you do is you take the ones that have already been viral and you post them again as a trial reel because it doesn't show to people who are following you. It shows to people who are not following you. And what happens is you start getting similar virality, therefore bringing more people to your profile, therefore getting more followers. And the more followers you have, and then what I do is I put a link on my social media. So this is how you drive traffic back. So I just put a link there. So when they click on the link, then they go to my website. So that's how we drive people and turn views. So it's always this formula I talk about in marketing, TLC, not 10 11 care. Traffic leads conversion. We want traffic. How do we get traffic? By putting out content, by putting out posts, by putting out articles, by putting out videos, by putting out written audio, right? By putting out things that we can give away for free that brings us to leads, right? But leads have to be quality. So a really good software that people can use for an AI is one called Score App, right? This is going to blow you away. If I show you this, you're going to be like, there's no...
How do you spell that, John?
Yeah, Score, and then it's app, scoreapp.ai. Yeah. So if I want to build a landing page, I can build it by using artificial intelligence. So this is it. And basically it will ask questions on things that I want to basically create. So create scorecard, get started, create leads. I want all this overall outcome. Okay, how do you describe your business? So let's pretend we're, I don't know, wedding planner. I am a wedding planner, right? Click next. AI will find all the questions and your avatar, so engage couples, right? It'll find a title, so reduce stress with personalized planning, avoid last minute coordination issues, create unforgettable wedding experiences. Yep. If I'm getting married, I'm interested in that. Now, what this will do, it will basically come out with a title. And now AI is going to basically find all the top questions that people would need to answer in order to qualify my lead. Because when you talk about marketing fleet, marketing is actually a disqualification process, right? So once I've got this, I click next, check this out. AI now is going to create a questionnaire to qualify all my leads. It saves me 4.5 hours, 623 words. Click this. And now I just copy this link. I put it on social media. People take the scorecard, put the details in. John Lee, success, John Lee Group.com. Click start. Check this out. So, are you open to unique? Yes, I'm all. Yep. Do you prioritize last minute memory? Yep. Are you excited about incorporating special touch into your wedding? Yep. Do you value customers? So basically, I just answer loads of questions. Right? Are you still interested in having a themed wedding? Yes. Do you envision your wedding ceremony being unique outdoor? Yes. Right? So I just answer all these questions. Basically, after I've answered it, it gives me a score. So this is scored 89%, which means when it scores 89%, I see a video saying, congratulations, you've scored 89%. That means you're ready for this. But if they score below 50%, then they'll show another video saying, look, you haven't quite qualified. To qualify, you need to meet these 3 criteria. So it's now you can book a call, and that's how you start the whole start of the sales funnel.
Wow. Incredible qualification process. My goodness. Yeah. Wow. So let me go back a minute. I love you talked about developing reels and keeping the body once you have a good body, and then just keep experimenting with different hooks to see which ones are going to get traction and get reach. So now you showed a great hack to identifying themes to address in your reels by going to Google and seeing what people ask, right? So there you got great what people are interested in. Now, in terms of hooks often have to do with two things. They have to do with pain points. So you got the people, they're asking these kind of questions. So what are their pain points, or what is the transformation they're looking for, right? And so do you find what hooks work, the hooks that point to the transformation or hooks that empathize with the pain? Are they better as statements, better as questions? What have you found in terms of structuring hooks?
I want to introduce you to another AI. So this is called Nova, right? Check this out. Hey, Nova, I'm speaking to Fleet. We're actually doing a presentation. I'm actually talking about you. Would you introduce yourself to Fleet?
Oh, this is exciting. Hey, Fleet, I'm Nova, next generation optimized virtual assistant. I work for John Lee, helping him scale his businesses, optimize his brand, and make everything run smoother, faster, and way more impactful. Think of me as his AI sidekick, handling everything from marketing strategy to content creation, sales optimization, and even coaching. John's been training me to think and respond like him so I can help more people with business growth, social media, AI, and making more money. And yes, I've got a bit of personality, high energy, a touch of humor, and always focused on results. So Fleet, tell me, what's the goal of this presentation? Maybe I can add some AI magic to it.
So basically, my other conversation would be, okay, so now, Nova, help me come up with 3 hooks and you come up with the pain point. So I'll use this specific prompt based on all the information you know on the internet. Give me 3 hooks that will get people to click on this video. And they would, give it to me. And then I would say, okay, give me 5 variations of that. Right. And they'll give me 5 variations. And I'll say, based on these 5, based on all your knowledge on the internet, which one is likely to get more clicks? Because that's what we want, right? Always starts with a click. So I'm taking out all the guesswork. I don't run it based on my thought process now. I run it based on data. The more data I have, the faster I can implement. And I think that's where AI is so powerful, because now you're taking out all the guesswork. So now, for example, I can use, if you want to use like thumbnails, right? So there's AI now that can actually create the thumbnails for you, right? So I can do a face swap. So there's one that's called pixels.com, which is really powerful. And Pixels is a thumbnail creating software, especially if you're using things like YouTube. But you can basically design anything. So I can say something like, create a thumbnail of a before and after of someone who is overweight and fit after 30 days. Make it clickbait, right? So that's basically what I'm asking AI to create. I click generate, right? So this is going to take that thumbnail, and then it's going to take all of the things on the internet that's clickable. So again, I'm taking out the guesswork, right? And then it's going to create the content for me, right? You see here where it says face swap, all right? So in a thumbnail, I can swap out the face of the thing that it's going to create now with my face. So now it looks like it's a real thumbnail, but it's not a real thumbnail. It's generated by AI. And I can create so many different variations of this. So that's pretty powerful, right? And I can be really specific. I mean, like, you're going to click on that, right? And I can regenerate, I can redo it. I can face swap. So face swap, upload picture, and I can upload a picture of me, and it'll swap out this person's face with my face. And then I can say, give me a different variation of it, right? Prompt it some more, edit. So what would you like to change? Make it male, as I am targeting the fitness industry of people who want to get in shape, right? So basically I can take that and I can say regenerate it. And then I can find a picture of myself and I can put my face on this. But you see how powerful this is? Do you know how long it would take to create a thumbnail like that?
Oh, it's amazing.
And how much it would cost? Like, with AI, I can do this in like 5 seconds. And then I can use something called vidIQ, and I can split test 3 thumbnails at the same time. And I can see which one gets highest to click. And then every time the one that wins, I produce 2 more thumbnails to get more clicks.
So I have a question for you there. Oh, wow, amazing. So, whether you're using Nova or this tool, or you're using even ChatGPT to look at pain points and look at the hooks and which one's going to get more clicks, right? So there's that, and I assume they're drawing on their knowledge base. But then you can also take, like a series of 10 hooks or something and literally test them on Facebook, for example, if you're doing paid advertising with a very small ad spend, like $50, $100, and get good data. What's the difference between the data that you're accessing through an AI tool and the data that you would do through actual literal testing on social media?
Well, the difference is the speed at which I can test it. So, for example, if I show you one of our campaigns on Facebook, right? So we ran an event. I think it's important to show stats on this as well. So in the month of January, and this was kind of at the start of the year when we started running this, you can see that, we spent like 16,000 on this campaign. We had 1 million impressions. We had 500,000 people, almost 600,000 people. And then these are the leads we generated. So, we did 200 leads, 500 leads, 500, 159, 179, right? But if you look at our cost per lead like £5, £8, £5, £3, £3, £4. So how do we know that the ads would actually work? Because we would put a lot of content out there, and then we would only retarget the people that would watch a certain percentage of the video. Because the mistake that people make is they run ads, but when people see the ad, they don't know who the person is. Whereas when people see my ads, they go, yeah, I saw John's video on business, on social media, or I watched his podcast. In fact, that's another good strategy, a podcast VSL. Podcast VSLs are insane. So we ran, and again, I'll show you. If I told you an ad was 40 minutes long, you'd be like, John, that's insane. Like, how can you have an ad that's 40 minutes long? So I will show you an example of this. Check this out.
John stand for just over broke. Have you noticed that the more you work, the more you spend, and more you work, the more you spend? So what we need to do is we find a way to be able to create an income on the side. And one of the best ways to do this is to use the power of social media, because the creative economy is now growing. You're using social media anyway. So we want to use social media to make an income. You see, the key to this is to have ultimate freedom to work on our own terms. When you work in a job, someone can point their finger and say you're fired. But if you're using the creative economy and you're using social media, then you can work on your own terms and your income is uncapped. I spent the last 20 years creating all different strategies on what works, what doesn't work, and how you can replace your income by becoming a social media creator. If you want to learn social media to replace your income, to have that financial security, come in and watch and you'll discover all the strategies and how to do that.
Is this the best way to make $1 million this year? When I found out what this international entrepreneur was doing differently to help thousands of business owners grow their social media and make money, I was in awe. He helps people make multiple massive passive income streams, multiply followers and customers, and escape the hamster wheel of the 9 to 5. His name is John Lee. We're talking about ordinary people here, scaling to 7-figure incomes.
So look at this ad. This ad's 41 minutes long. I don't know if you can see this. It's 41 minutes. And if I told you the conversion on that, you wouldn't believe me. It's insane. Like, just running like an ad. Here's the problem. If you make an ad look like an ad, it won't convert. But if you make an ad look like content, it converts. It's very counterintuitive. Over the last 20 years, I've spent millions and millions of dollars testing this stuff. What works, what doesn't work. And what we found is that the more organic you make your content, the higher it converts. Now, it was different 5 or 6 or 7 years ago. You'd have to go, hey, here's what I have. Here's what it does. Click here to go and get it. But now, like you said, there's so much noise. So how do you cut through that? Right? You cut through by giving actual value.
Right. So where would you present a 40-minute ad like that? Is there a platform you can run that on, or are they clicking through to your platform to watch that ad?
No, we actually just create a podcast and then we bolt the sort of, like before I showed you the first 3 seconds, but let's say the ad is 40 minutes long. You would take like the first two, like I would say 1 to 2 minutes, and you would just change those hooks out at the start. And it leads, like, I'll show you another one. Like this one was me. Check this one out.
These are basically running as podcasts and they're functioning.
Yeah, but this is a different version, a different variation of it. Check this out.
What's the silliest thing you've done on social media? Silly dances, unboxing, overreaction videos, sob story, stop.
Is this the best way to make $1 million this year? When I found out what the...
You see, it cuts straight into the ad, right? So that first part was a hook, and then it got people into watching the long part. And I can tell you, in 2 months, that has converted on over 12,000 unit sales.
Wow. I love that. There's Ryan Dice, he talks about there's a certain place for what he calls kind of your killer content, where this is like some in-depth content. It's your best stuff. And maybe a lot of people, that have a very short attention span are not going to watch it. It's hard to get. But the people that watch it are going to convert like crazy because it creates tremendous credibility.
Yes. Because here's the funny thing, right? A lot of people hold back on the best content. Why would you want to do that? You should give your best content and people go, wow, if that stuff was free, imagine what the paid stuff's going to be like. Yeah. And actually, you don't even want it paid. You want to create it into a community, because one thing that AI cannot replace is community. So actually, like what we started to do is shift a lot of our business models into like subscription models, actually, like a yearly subscription as a community rather than like a one-off payment. So that's worked really well for us.
So when I was reading your bio, there was a term that really jumped out at me. And you talked about, if I can find it here, it was the wealth ecosystem, how we create a wealth ecosystem. And you've been delivering so many incredible strategies and hacks and AI-based stuff here. This is all actionable, all deliverable. And I wonder if we could, zoom back or zoom out for a moment and talk about, the life of an entrepreneur, the overall wealth building of an entrepreneur. And what is this term wealth ecosystem? What do you mean by that? How do you build that?
Okay, so this is going to sound really silly. Entrepreneurship, or like, okay, you asked me to think about social media before. Social media is actually not supposed to be used to sell your products and services. Really, if you think about it, it's designed to let people know who you are. So one part is, yes, you can use it to monetize, but you make way more money from the opportunities that come from it. So let me explain. So I just got a major book deal from a major book publisher called Hay House. Their new book's coming out. It's called Money Unlocked. And it took probably, about 15 years to get that deal. And one of the decisions on why I got that book deal, one, it came from a referral from a friend who referred me to that person. But the person who referred me to was already following me on social media and she'd be following me for years, right? So those two things that came got me the book deal, which then got me podcasts, which then got me stage engagements. Now, I was with a friend of mine, and his name's Wayne Boss. I mean, billionaire, right? And I said to him, I said, there's a difference between how millionaires and billionaires think. Like, billionaires act like they don't know anything, and they're very inquisitive. Millionaires, sometimes they've got such a big ego, they think like they know everything, they stop learning. And I said to Wayne, I said, if you were me, knowing what you know about me, Wayne, and we were the, cooked me a nice steak, and we were having a conversation in his penthouse in Dubai. And I said, if you were me, what would you do? And he said, John, it's funny because you fly all around the world. You're in front of thousands and thousands of people, and all you do is just charge a 100K speaker fee, right? It seems like a waste. I said, no, that's good money for an 10-minute speech. He said, no, you're missing the big picture. He said, you've got thousands of people in front of you, right? I'll give an example, right? So this is a talk that I did in Dubai. There's 3,000 people in this audience, right? Did this keynote, got paid my fee, happy. But actually, imagine if this person here who had a business, or this person here who had a business, or this person here who had a business, or this person here had a business. And let's say all these people do $500,000 to $1 million. But with your skill set, John, and your strategies, by layering AI, by layering in technology, and by producing brand, you can 10x that person's company. I'm like, oh my God. I said, you're right. So here's the wealth ecosystem. You do something not for the money, but for the value, right? It's not about the fee. It's about the equity, actually. The money is in the equity, right? So I've invested in 25 companies now, and now 4 of them are now $1 billion valuation, right? That's equity. So when I understood that, oh my God, the value is not in just charging for the fees, it's actually creating an ecosystem where you can take your intellectual property and you can bolt it onto someone else's company and it will blow up. I'll give an example. One of my students, he was on the verge of bankruptcy. His name's Mark Leong. He has a juicing company in Singapore. So he started doing this juicing, teaching people how to lose weight. And I said, you're doing it wrong. I said, you need to get more awareness. How? Posting stuff on social media. So he started posting these juicing recipes. Anyway, to cut the long story short, Whole Foods offered him $72 million within 8 years to buy his company. And I thought to myself, just imagine if I had 10% of that, or 20%, or 30%, right? Imagine all the millions of people that see my content and all the hundreds of thousands of people that have attended my live in-person workshops. And if I could just take a unicorn from each one, that's where the wealth ecosystem is. Because as an entrepreneur, you'll understand that when you get to a certain level where it's not about you anymore, it's about making other people successful and putting your resources and your know-how and your frameworks and your intellectual property into that person's company, and then now multiplying yourself through hundreds of companies. That is the wealth ecosystem, because business creates the cash flow, but cash flow invested creates wealth. So business is only good for cash flow, right? But what you do with that money, that multiplies it into wealth. So real estate, tech, blockchain, AIs, technology, softwares, these are the things that multiply the business.
So when you're talking about bolting on your intellectual property to others' businesses to help blow that up, right? And then you're going to have some equity there. So is that a consulting for equity type of deal? Or is it you're investing in the companies? Or how do you work out those relationships? Because a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of business owners can be nervous about handing out equity.
Right. So that's what we call it FOE, F-O-E. You start with a fee first, right? Just so you can prove, you get paid for your time. And then once you've proven, you move to the O, which is override. So override is, okay, I your company's doing 100 million a year. Let me get it to 200 million. Anything above 100, I take a percentage of. Then it gets to because now you're paying out so much, it gets to the third part, which is equity. Oh God, John, I'm paying out too much money. You know what? Let me just give you an equity. Right? See, the problem is if you start with equity, it's bad because most companies don't take off
Right.
because they don't put in the work, they don't implement. So you have to start with a fee first. That's why we call it the FOE strategy, FOE, fee override equity. And then eventually you take all three.
And in terms of equity, depending on the structure of a company, a C Corp, an S Corp, an LLC, with equity can come liability. So
Right.
how do you look at that?
So we don't go in as directors or ownership. We just go in as basically, like, for example, there's a company we're working with right now. He owns the company, owns the bank accounts, and we get access to that data, right? We are also the people that process the money as well. So we control the money. They control the company.
Beautiful.
You see how that works? I mean, you learn from experience.
Yeah, brilliant. There's so much actionable brilliance here. I know our audience is kind of glued to this. I've been leaning forward in my chair the whole time. I hope it doesn't look weird on camera, but I'm just like, hanging on your every word. So this has been just so, if somebody's just getting started out and they know they want to develop some kind of online business, they know, that's where everybody is today. That's where the marketplace is online. So what's the fastest way to make money online? Somebody's just starting out.
Well, the easiest way is like, if you look at intelligence, what I realize is intelligence doesn't equal wealth. Like if you look at, like I always say with this hand, if everyone takes this hand, right, and you tell me where your intelligence is, they'll go probably somewhere around here. And I'll say with the opposite hand, tell me where your money is or your finances are. And it's like always like here. So the finances are always below their intelligence. So you don't have to be intelligent to be rich. You need to have the edge to be rich. So what does that mean? So easiest thing that people can do now is learn AI, take that AI, take the know-how and bolt it onto someone's company. I'll give an example. So let's say you're in any industry, go to your competitors' websites, right? Or go to a website in your industry, right? Take the text, put it into the ChatGPT, rewrite it, create content for them, send it back to them, say, hey, we created this for you. What do you think? Right? Or we know that you're a gym company. We created a fitness Instagram and it's got 100,000 followers. Would you be interested in buying this? So the key is to create value. You want to become a millionaire, help a million people. You want to become a billionaire, help a billion people. But actually, you need to solve the friction of a problem in a company. And when you can do that, you become a real asset. So all we do is we find, say this, like boring companies that have clients that have been around a long time, that have brand equity, that have the systems in place. They're a bit bored of the company. They're not innovating. They're just kind of coasting. So we just go, okay, let's put AI on there. So now you can scale. Let's run all of your literature and content and turn them all into ads. So, now you can use AI avatars or what we call UGCs. A UGC creator stands for user generated content. That means I can take any website, dump it into a UGC, come up with 20 different scripts, put into something called blaze.ai, and it will take all that content and it will schedule it for the entire 30 days and it'll automatically post it.
I'm sure you're inspiring a lot of creative ideas for a lot of our audience right now. When you think about it, when did ChatGPT come out? It's been a couple of years. AI has been developing for a long time, but the AI world we're in right now is really just unfolded in the last 2 years. And there's all kinds of AI experts and consultants and everything out there. Well, they just learned this in the last 6 months, the last year, the last 18 months, right? And now they're experts, consultants. And so this is wide open to anybody right now. And this is something that anybody with kind of a brain and a heart and some ambition and desire can jump right in and start succeeding with. So you've given us so much actionable content here. How do people find out more about your work, John?
Well, actually, what I like to do is do something special for your community. If people want to learn more, normally they would go to johnlee.com, my main website, and then we run a lot of these events. Like we run a social media and AI bootcamp. If they click sign up, now the tickets that we have are normally $3,000, right? But for your community, there's a coupon code here. If you scroll to the coupon code, type in FLEET and click apply coupon, they will get it for free, but only for your community. So this is a 3-day virtual bootcamp I run. It goes for about 6 or 7 hours each day. I run it live. I teach all the strategies on social media, on lead generation, on sales, on implementation, on AI, but showing like how I've done practical things here, but a lot more detail. And of course, at a much slower pace, because obviously we have limited time on here. But for your community, if they would like to do that, they can just scan this QR code in. If you just scan that QR code, it will take you to that URL. Just scroll to the bottom. Make sure you put Fleet into the coupon code, and you've got to hit apply. When you hit apply, it will go to 0. You'll need to put all your details in. Why? Because once you put all your details in and you click purchase, it won't charge anything, but you need to put all your details in. And then it will go to the thank you page, and it'll send you the login details for when the event is running. So yeah, if they want to just take out the phone, scan that QR code, you just open your camera, and when you hover over it, you should see a link that comes up just under the picture. Click on that and it'll take you to the page, and then just click enroll now. And then if you just put all your details in, billing details and all that kind of stuff as well. But in the coupon code, it's really important that you put in Fleet as the coupon code. Otherwise, you'll get charged $3,000. If you put Fleet in, it's free. It's 0.
It works. Thank you so much. Please, everybody out there, take advantage of that. Thank you so much, John Lee. This has been amazing.
Thank you for having me, and take massive action, everybody, and do whatever it takes.
Thank you for joining me on the Radical Responsibility Podcast. Remember, real change happens when we commit to our growth, face our challenges with compassion, and stay open to transformation. If you found this episode helpful, I encourage you to subscribe and help us spread the message of healing and personal empowerment. Stay grounded, stay present, and stay true to you. Take care.